It is time for your favorite Android podcast from the crew of blindandroidusers.com. Kick back and enjoy another fine episode from these Google fanboys as they navigate Android from a blindness perspective. And now, here are your hosts.
Hello and welcome to episode 27 of the Blind Android Users podcast. I'm Ed Green, and with me today are Warren Carr, Austin Pinto and Mariam Mohsen, and we're recording on Saturday the 12th of June 2021. This week we have our usual announcement section. In our must-have apps series, we're turning our attention to text-to-speech engines. How do you want your screen reader to sound on your phone? You'll see we have a myriad of options. We'll then have the next in our series of demonstrations of the commentary screen reader, courtesy of Mariam. App of the week this week is from me, and I'm demonstrating one of the pub apps we have here in the UK, a pub chain called Wetherspoons. And joining us live this week to tell us about her Android journey is Alina Heiburger. Good evening, everyone. How are we all?
Hi, Ed. How are you? We're doing well here, at least from my end.
I'm doing great. It's been a beautiful day so far.
I'm doing great too. It's raining very heavily in my end, and it's like all like flooding. Sometimes it is okay, sometimes it is flooding. It's a rainy season, so Mumbai gets flooded very easily.
Not much going on at the Wankhede Stadium today then?
No, not much at the stadium.
And how are you, Alina? Welcome.
Yeah, I'm fine too.
Good. And with our announcements this week, it's Austin. What's been happening, Austin?
So this week we have got not much announcements in the form of announcements. We just have a vote of thanks to give. I was just reading the show notes from back, very old, I think episode 15, episode 14. And I saw that Top Tech Titbits have been with us since a long time, and we would like to thank them for promoting us on their newsletters, and you can subscribe to them. The link will be in the show notes. Also, if you have a newsletter or if you know something that can, share a show or promote us, or you have a podcast and you want to invite us, you can contact us and we will then see the details and come back on your show to talk about Android. That is it from the announcement section this week.
And thanks, Austin. I think you were going to talk a little bit about the OnePlus event, weren't you, that happened last week?
Yeah, so the OnePlus event was this. OnePlus had a summer launch event. It happened on the 10th of June. And the only things launched in this event was a TV. Like there was just one TV, but it had several sizes. It is very nice TV, and the phone. I don't even feel like talking about the Nord CE, but let's talk about the TV first. So the TV is a 4K TV. It's an Android TV running Android 10. It comes in 50 inches and 45 inches. I don't know if the products will come to the US or what, but I know that the products will come to Europe, and they are definitely in India. And it's a good TV, but I don't know. I just felt like this event was just marketing and nothing else. We have this colors, this gamut, this display, speak now technology. What they did is they just renamed OK Google to Speak Now, and they then promoted it as a new technology. So we had all that going on the event, on the TV launch. It was all marketing. Then they launched the phone, and the phone is good, but it has a 750 Snapdragon 750 CPU. It has 128 and 256 GB of storage. It starts from 23,000 Indian rupees. It's a 5G phone, but it's just for namesake. The worst part is it comes with just one 5G band, and that's it. But people say in Europe it has many 5G bands, but in India it just comes with one. So I don't know. From the time Carl Pei left OnePlus, they're just going downhill, and all the OnePlus fans are just fed up of their moves raising prices, giving one 5G band or two 5G bands, and we thought they would upgrade, they would add 5G bands after software update. But then they came out and said for the OnePlus 9 Pro that no, we are not going to do that. So that is the biggest disaster that OnePlus has done. And I was OnePlus fan. I had the OnePlus 6T, I had the OnePlus 7 Pro, and the OnePlus Nord original. But the OnePlus Nord original is going to be the last OnePlus that I'll be having, unless they come around and give a good amount of bands. I'm not saying give all the bands possible, but phones like Realme and Xiaomi, they're giving 6-7 bands in price range of 15,000. So that is all from the OnePlus event. What do you think about the event?
Yeah, I thought it was a bit underwhelming as well in terms of the phone. I know the Nord's the sort of, well, not budget at that price, but the lower end. But yeah, I thought it was a bit underwhelming. Is there anything that a user can do to unlock more 5G bands, or is that something that OnePlus has to enable?
That is OnePlus has to enable. Users cannot do anything.
Workaround.
No, you can't. It has to come from the company. And I think that at this point, if they didn't include those radios in there, I don't know what they can do software-wise.
The only thing good about the OnePlus Nord was that they bought back the headphone jack. That's all the good thing that they did.
Yeah, but I mean, every mid-ranger out there has a headphone jack. And for them to say, hey, we're bringing the headphone jack, yeah, actually, they're late to the party.
I do like the hardware on the OnePlus, the alert slider, the speed, the responsiveness. It's pretty good. It blows out my mid-range Samsung certainly.
I like the fact that they have that a slider there to silence the phone. I wish every phone manufacturer would do that. I think that would be really cool.
Also, another thing that happened for the Samsung fans, this is little critical news. They have found some serious security vulnerabilities in Knox and other Samsung apps. So we'll have the link of that article also in the show notes. So be aware of these flaws that they have found recently.
Thanks, Austin, for that timely warning. Just before we move into TTSs, Warren, were you wanting to say anything about the latest beta of Android 12 this week?
Well, Android 12 Beta 2 dropped on us, I think was that a couple days ago. When was that? I think that was Thursday, wasn't it? I don't remember. So I installed it, and so many of the new things that were talked about finally got in this Beta 2. And I think that the revamping of the notification, there's now a clear demarcation between your notification area and the quick settings area. Unlike before, they were kind of like meshed together in a sense. For a blind person, does it make any difference? Maybe not. But for a sighted person, you have that clear demarcation where this one ends and where the other one begins. So it really makes sense. And then, of course, the power has been revamped again. So for instance, we now have the power, and in previous versions, you got the power off, emergency, restart, and I think there was also the switch controls, like controlling home things, and also the wallet in there. Now those have been decoupled to where we only have emergency, power off, and restart. So I pulled it down, and right above the notification area to the right, you got the power menu. If I tap here,
phone options, emergency.
When you tap here, emergency,
power off.
You got power off,
restart,
and restart. So it's like a T. So they are not horizontal like all of them used to be from left to right, but you got the emergency to the left, then power off to the right, and then below them is the restart. So it's like a cross, like a little T, printed T. And now if I go just above that notification area, we have the wallet right there. So the wallet is no longer part of that menu, that power menu. And then another thing that they changed was in the quick settings, also you have like where you have your Wi-Fi and all of that. They kind of like bundle now, and it tells you what it does. For instance,
Internet. Theme mesh. Switch. On. Wi-Fi signal full. In pager.
It
Select
used to
network you
be
want to use for
that
data.
if you tap on that, it will switch it off. But instead, when you tap on it, it will tell you what it has.
Select the network you want to use for data. Theme mesh. Connected. Enlisted.
So that's
Theme mesh tested.
my Wi-Fi, and it'll have all this information letting you know to choose what you're going to be using for data and what you're going to be using for Wi-Fi. So anyway, another thing that I like though, which is the most important thing, is the fact that we now have that privacy now is working. It will let you know what app has access to your camera. It will let you know what app has access to your microphone, and you could actually deny all of them so that when you launch an app, then it would ask you whether you want to allow it or whatever, or if there's an app, doing something in the background, it will let you know. And so Google has really stepped up with respect to privacy here. Another thing that I found of interest, I'm just quickly going through these things, that I found of interest, although it's not working on mine for some reason. I tried it on both my Pixel 4, Pixel 3a, and my Pixel 4a, also on my regular Pixel 3, but it's not working for some reason. It's the quick tap. So in other words, you could assign what you want to do with a quick tap by tapping the back of your phone to perform a certain action. And the best way to get it is from the system settings. Just search for quick tap. So let's go there quick. Okay, let's
Search settings. Voice input.
quick tap.
Use quick tap. Quick tap. Enlisted. Settings services. Keyboard hidden. Settings. Quick tap. Out of list.
So when you tap on quick tap, you need to toggle on. There's an on-off switch near the top right corner.
Use quick tap. Enlisted. Switch on.
So it's switched on. By default, it's not switched on. I switched it on. And then you have these radio buttons.
Radio button not selected. Take screenshot. Radio button not selected. Access your digital assistant. Radio button not selected. Player pause media. Radio button selected. See recent apps. Radio button not selected. Show notifications. Radio button not selected. Open app. Radio button not selected. Player pause media.
If I want to use it to launch an app, for example, what we will need to tap on is the one that talks about apps. So I'm going to go toward the bottom.
11. Requires stronger taps. Switch off.
So you could change, how hard of a tap you want to give it. But I want to go to.
Radio button not selected. Open app. No app selected. No app selected. Selected.
So I tap on open app because by default no app is selected. So I tap on open an app and.
Requires stronger taps. Switch off.
And you could adjust that.
Settings button.
And then here there's a settings. When you tap on that settings, I think it's loading up my stuff. Give it time to load.
Settings.
And then that brings up all your apps that you could use.
Add voice license. Radio button not selected. Add voice network library exclusion. Add Acapella TTS Voices. Radio button not selected.
See how that is? So I'm going to scroll up.
Auto. Showing DL Bard Mobile. Radio button not selected.
So let's say I choose the Bard.
Bard Mobile. Radio button not selected.
So I tap on Bard Mobile. That, hey, this is the one I want to use when I do the double tap, or when I do the tapping on the back of my phone to launch it. And now I just need to go back, or I could just tap navigate the top.
Settings button.
So I'm back to
radio button selected. Open app. Bard Mobile.
So there we are. I have used that to launch my Bard Mobile. Now the problem is that for some reason it's not working, and I thought maybe because I have my phone in a case, and I decided to take it out of the case, and still it doesn't work. So this is something that probably get refined next beta, which is coming up in July. So we will revisit this again to see, but I see the usefulness of this. It's going to be good for people doing several things, whatever you want to launch your assistants by tapping the back of your phone, or you want to launch a particular app by tapping the back of your phone. It's a great feature, and I'm excited about it.
So I have a question, actually. Couldn't we use it to turn the screen reader on, as in iOS devices? Because I know it's available there.
Yeah, you should be able to, because it's among the it takes you to where you could actually choose an app. So one could choose, Android accessibility or some other app, or maybe like you, Mariam, you have what's that thing, CSR. I couldn't, but so, one could use that. Hey, so you want to quickly switch CSR on, you just double tap. Well, I mean, why do I keep saying double tap? You just tap the back of your phone, because it didn't say to double tap, but just tap the back of your phone.
Oh, is it just one tap? It's like this?
Yeah.
Oh my God, wow.
Yeah. So it's a neat feature that I'm looking forward to it. That it would work on every phone. I think that would be really great. So, yeah.
Do you know, Warren, if you can use it to answer a call?
That's a very good one. You know what? I didn't see it in the services, like when I was going through this.
No, I didn't hear it either.
I didn't see it either. But, you never can tell. Maybe the next iteration, beta 3, that could be added to the list. So definitely, like I said, though, we'll be back here checking again to see what it has next month when we have this beta 3.
Brilliant. Thank you, Warren. Now we're going to turn to talk about text-to-speech engines. And this is the next in our series of must-have apps. Obviously, we all know about TalkBack, but how do you want your TalkBack to sound? Ironically, quite a few of us use Eloquence, which we won't be demonstrating today, simply because it's no longer available on the Play Store to purchase. And if you already have it, presumably you already know how to work it. So although that is the text-to-speech engine you possibly hear most often on this podcast, we're not going to be looking at it today. Warren, are you going to demonstrate a TTS engine today?
Well, I think that, though, we just need to talk about what is a TTS, because sometimes we say these words and maybe someone who's new, does not know what TTS stands for. And of course, we're talking about text-to-speech engine here. So TTS means text-to-speech. And every phone has this, and most especially if you're blind, what good is a phone if you don't have the ability to hear what is going on? So what happens is your screen reader, and a lot of times people think that screen readers, verbalize things. No, screen readers never verbalize anything, and what we get verbalized out is coming from the TTS engine. And so the screen reader sees something and says, yeah, I see something that looks like a knucklehead here. And so the TTS says, hey, knucklehead. So that's what's going on. So, but then, of course, a good TTS engine is always needed, because the lag that sometimes people observe when you're using your phone or some other screens, or maybe the keyboard and all that is dependent on how responsive your TTS is. And I tell you, I cannot overemphasize the need for a good TTS engine, because that's what drives it. And so it makes sense to always research and find out what TTS engines are the most responsive TTS engines out there. And so, of course, Ed, you said we're not talking about Eloquence. Of course, that's probably one of the most responsive TTS engines out there. But then there's the ESpeak. And I know a lot of people don't like the ESpeak. It sounds very robotic. And I call it the hide my ass TTS. Of course, if you're doing something you don't want someone to hear, I will just invoke that ESpeak TTS. And we have both on the Play Store. There's one from Reese Dunn, and that's a paid version. I think it's 99 cents, $1. And then, of course, you have another one from, is it Red Sock? I don't remember, something like that. But that one is free. And I think that one does have some ads. But of course, when you're doing a TTS, you're not going to be seeing those ads on there. I want to show that ESpeak, because it's another responsive TTS engine besides Eloquence.
Talkback menu, actions, and list. Talkback text-to-speech settings.
Okay. So when you go into your text-to-speech settings area,
text-to-speech output, out of list. Preferred engine, ETI Eloquence TTS, middle list. Settings, preferred engine, out of list.
So now I'm going to go find ESpeak.
Radio button, not selected. Voice, showing items. Radio button, not selected. Devote text-to-speech HQ. Radio button, not selected. Area of video. Radio button, not selected. ESpeak.
That's the ESpeak.
Attention, this speech synthesis. OK button.
Using ESpeak settings. Radio button, selected. ESpeak, in list.
So this ESpeak right there, and I want to show quickly the settings that I found on ESpeak.
Settings. ESpeak TTS settings. Import ESpeak dictionary. Import an ESpeak voice dictionary file from the SD card in list.
Actually, this thing is very customizable, highly customizable.
Speak punctuation, none. Speech rate, 175 WPM. Pitch, 50%. Pitch variation, 50%. Volume, 100%. ESpeak TTS settings, out of list.
Okay.
Import ESpeak dic voice variant.
There we
male
go.
Variant 5.
Here are the voice variants. You tap.
Voice variant, category, out of list. Drop down list, male.
You have male. If I tap here.
Pop-up window, male, female.
Oh yes, give me those female weird voices, please.
You like the female? Let's try some girl, shall we?
Default voice variant, drop down list, female,
So
out of list.
you choose the male or female, and then you need to go choose the voice or the female voice that you want to hear or the male voice that you want to hear.
Variant,
So we
drop down list, default.
tap here.
Pop-up win, variant 1,
So we have variant 1, variant 2.
variant 2.
Is this supposed to be a girl? Oh my god.
No. I haven't chosen the girl variant voice yet.
Okay,
So
yeah, got it.
Variant 1,
let's try the first one.
variant 1, voice variant, drop down list, variant 1, out of list.
Oh,
Cancel, okay,
let's see.
button. ESpeak TTS settings, voice
Oh my
variant,
god.
female variant 1, in list.
But that's the kind of girl I like, you know.
Oh, what the hell?
Voice
She sounds so
variant,
weird.
female variant 1.
I don't like
Well, so let's change the variant. Let's
You
try.
you just didn't see the grandma yet.
Let's try.
Oh yeah.
Drop down list, female variant. Drop down list, variant 1.
So
Pop up, variant 1, variant 2, variant 3, variant 4, variant 5.
so there are 5 variants. Should I try the 5th one?
Yeah, I think so.
Variant 5, voice variant.
And then we tap OK to effect it.
Okay. ESpeak TTS settings, voice variant, female variant 5, in list.
So she's hiding in a bathroom or something crazy like that,
I
right?
think so. Yeah.
But that's the ESpeak there for you, but it's very responsive. How about Mariam? Do we want to talk a little bit about the history of TTS engines when we got started back on Android? In those days, we had something called the Pico. Some people say Pico, so it depends on how you want to pronounce it. Pico, whatever it is. Those were the voices that we used to have back then. Austin, you remember one of those voices? Besides Pico, I think there was another one. I don't remember.
I do remember that.
No, I don't remember.
Yeah, besides, I know there was another one besides Pico, but I don't remember what that one was. Now, I think it was from Google. It was something else. But so by
all I would say about ESpeak, I don't like it, just for the record, but it does have a lot of different dialects in particular that most other speech synthesizers don't have. So as well as the variants, when you change its language, in the UK ESpeak, there are several different regional dialects, which most other speech synthesizers don't have. I don't think that's enough to make ESpeak worth using personally, but it does exist. So if you like highly customizable different regional variations, particularly in the UK context, then knock yourself out with ESpeak.
Well, actually, Ed, I think you brought something up there that's very important. It supports more dialects and languages than any other TTS engine out there. And so, frankly, if you don't have something in your language or something in your region, you definitely want to take a look at ESpeak because it might just support whatever
it even
language it is.
supports Arabic. Even
Yeah.
so weird, but it supports Arabic.
And
Yeah,
it was
supports
for
To
the
my mind,
longest.
that's
Yeah. For the longest time, it was the first one that was supporting Arabic language because the other ones were not. I mean, things like Google TTS. I mean, those are just latecomers.
No, actually, what I was doing before was like when it sees an Arabic paragraph or something, it's just like it reads it as in letters. But lately, it reads certain words, which is cool. It's an amazing evolution that I
To me, it's like one of those
Google,
fusion. It's like one of those fusion restaurants which serves you any sort of cuisine you want. Trouble is, it's all horrible. So are you going to go?
Exactly.
Yeah, so Mariam, is that the Google TTS that's doing that or the ESpeak that is doing that?
The ESpeak that's
The
doing
ESpeak,
that.
okay.
Yes.
So let's talk about what TTS engines we have there. We have the Acapella, right?
Yes, we have the Acapella.
Yeah, do you want me to show Acapella?
Yeah, so you guys are going to show Acapella. Then we have the Vocalizer. We have the Cereproc Voices. I think, are they Scottish? I think it's a Scottish company, isn't it? The Cereproc.
It's certainly got a Scottish voice. I don't know if it's a Scottish company.
It's a Scottish company. And then we have, of course, we've talked about ESpeak. Then we have one called the Flight, FLITE. It's not the best sounding out there, but we do have the Flight TTS engine. And then we have some other weird ones that I have. Frankly, I don't remember what it is called. Of course, we're not going to be talking about Ivona, but we do have Ivona. It was in beta. So I think what we're going to do for our listeners is actually we're going to put it on our Telegram group, the Ivona voices and the APK as well as the file data, the voice data. I only have like 3 of them. I have both the English US, which comes like in the form of Kindra, and I have the Australian one, which is Nicole, and then there's Amy from the UK. So
I have some French voices as well, I guess, and I have a Polish one.
Okay, so we could.
Yeah, I also have the Romanian one and Amy as well.
Well, good. So we will put these things on. I will put the 3 that I have because these things were beta. They were for beta, and that's when I grabbed them. I will put them on our Telegram group. So, if anyone is interested in you listening to this, you could grab them from our Telegram group. So, Alina, you're going to put the Romanian one up there?
Yeah, sure.
And then, Mariam, you're going to put the French, and there was another one you have.
Sure. I have some of them I can't remember, but what I can remember, I have the Polish and the French. It's called Celine, I guess her name was. So.
That sounds good. And so the way that you go about doing this, I'll mention here quick, but we'll write the instructions as well, maybe on our Telegram group, is that you first, though, you want to download the voice data, and then, of course, it's going to be zipped. And after you download it, make sure you unpack it, and then copy the directory that is unpacked. Put that unpacked directory by going to Android, use your file browser, and you tap on Android. And in Android, you're going to find a folder called OBB, OBB. If there's none, you could just create an OBB folder and then drop the directory. For instance, if it's Kindra, you're going to find the Kindra that you just unzip, drop it in that OBB, OBB folder. And then the first thing you want to do is to install the Ivona HQ APK and then install the one that belongs to the voice. So there are going to be a set of 3 things that you will need. So there's going to be the voice data, the TTS, the engine itself, and that will be the HQ APK, and then the one that belongs to the particular voice. For instance, if you want Amy, you have to install the Amy APK, and if you want Kindra, you have to install the Kindra APK, and on it goes. So that's what I wanted to mention here. Ed?
I was just going to say, I don't know if there are any restrictions to stop you doing this, but could you also put your Voxygen voices on the Telegram group?
That's right. I'm going to put the Voxygen ones too because they were free. They were all beta on the Play Store. And so when they remove those things and they're no longer available, but if you have access to those, you could still use them. And so I think I have maybe like 6 or 8 of those things. So be looking out on our Telegram group. I got the Amanda Let me quickly show those
Text to
voices.
speak settings.
Please do get
Text
that
to speak
ESpeak
output.
off.
Yes, please.
Text to speak.
anything but that.
Pencil launcher.
Oh my gosh. Don't mess with my
Talkback.
hide my ass TTS engine, Ed.
I feel like
I
I just
can
had the
demo
world's worst doner
Talkback
kebab
settings.
listening to
Text to
that.
speak.
Okay.
Text. Amanda.
So here's
Okay.
Amanda.
Okay.
Using Amanda English US.
She
Settings.
she reminds me of a sad lady, you know, that kind of thing. I use it for my books sometimes, and it's like it want to bring a tear to your eye. You know,
Oh, she sounds cool. Where's she coming from? Which company?
it's from Voxygen. So I'll put all of these on. So you get
Radio button not selected. Bruce English US.
so here's
She
Bruce.
sounds cool. She
Okay,
sounds
button.
Yeah.
Using Bruce English US. Settings. Radio button selected. Radio button not selected. Elizabeth English GB.
Let's go to the British lady.
Attention. Okay.
Using Elizabeth English GB.
Yeah,
Settings.
I like UK voices
Radio
myself.
button.
There you go,
She
Alina.
sounds she sounds kind of pissed off at something.
Yeah.
No, I think she's rather kind of cool.
Radio button not
Yeah, I don't know.
selected. Johnny English US.
Here's Jenny.
Let's see, Jenny.
Attention. Cancelled. Okay.
Using Jenny English US. Settings. Radio button selected. Jenny.
Her accent
English
isn't
US
the
and
best, but she sounds cool.
Radio button not selected. Judith. English GB.
So we got Judith.
Attention. Okay.
Using Judith English GB. Settings.
Nah, she
Radio
sounds
button
awful.
selected.
She's almost like the witch,
English
isn't she?
GPS.
Yeah.
Radio button not selected. Phil English US.
Here's Phil.
Attention. Okay.
Using Phil English US. Settings. Radio button selected. Phil English US and list.
Why are you angry, man? Don't be.
Radio button not selected. Which? English
Okay,
GB.
I'll let
Oh, yeah.
Austin do the witch.
I love this. I've heard that one before, actually. So I know how it.
Austin, how about you do the witch TTS?
So, you know, in the Voxygen TTS, there's the most funniest TTS ever. And I don't know if you want to like be popular, you want to get a good laugh out of people, you select the Witch TTS. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to read the weather report of my city, and then you will come to know what it does.
10:42 p.m. Red warning for heavy rainfall.
Can you still turn it up a bit?
Description available. 29 degrees Celsius, real feel 35 degree air quality pool wind WSW 15 kilometers, H wind gusts 15 km, H cloudy, more details, current air quality 51 AQI get in description. Poor, the air has reached a high level of pollution and is unhealthy for sensitive groups. Reduce time spent outside if you are feeling symptoms such as difficulty breathing or throat irritation. Based on current pollutants, more details are learn more at Plum Love logo. Allergy outlook, no description available. Dumpster dander extreme sea weekly outlook tonight, 12:06. No description available. 26 degree low real feel 31 degree cloudy with a T-storm or two looking ahead. Thunderstorms in the area Saturday evening until late on Wednesday night, tomorrow 13:06. No description available. 31 degree.
Just imagine if somebody
Make
would have
her
said
laugh.
this.
Make her laugh. How you
Yeah.
guys-
So, here I am. It's restoring my apps, which are over 300. So it will take a while. I just have to use my Pixel 3.
So this
Yeah,
is how
so that's one of the novelty Voxygen
Yeah.
voices, which hopefully will appear on the Telegram group if you want to go and grab that.
just imagine if you'd set this TTS as your default and she reads something in the night at 3 o'clock or 3:30 and starts laughing loudly. What will be the
Yeah,
state?
that'd be so scary. Oh my god, I'm just telling you, if I use this at night, I'd be so scared.
One of the novelty ones. I'm now going to demonstrate a different TTS, and I'm going to demonstrate Acapella. I'll set Acapella, and then I'll show you how to change the voices, because it's a little bit different than in ESpeak, although ESpeak's way of doing it is slightly more sensible than Acapella's, I think. So I'm going to unlock my phone. So that is Eloquence, as you are no doubt aware. I'm going to bring up the talkback menu.
Text to speech settings.
Text to speech.
Preferred engine. Disabled. List. Google text to speech engine. Not ticked. Radio button. Acapella TTS. Ticked. Radio button.
This is what we want.
TTS.
We want
Double tap.
Acapella.
Attention. This speech synthesis engine. Okay. Cancel. Okay.
Using Acapella TTS. Preferred engine. Acapella TTS. Ticked. Radio button. In list. Anna TT is a cat. Make it. Comment. A. EDS.
So we've set it now. I'm going to
navigate up.
Hit navigate up in the top left.
Output. Disabled. In list. Preferred engine. Acapella. Settings. Button.
Now, if you have more than one a cappella voice, there's a very important setting you need to ensure is turned on. So I'm going to go into it from here because I happen to be in the text-to-speech settings. I'll show you how else you can do it in a minute because we don't change the voices here. But we're going to go into settings.
Acapella TTS Voices. Click to force voices speech rate. Out of list. Click to force voices speech rate. Click to force voices speech rate.
So the settings labels in here are really verbose, but I quite like the voices, so I'll put up with it.
Always use default voice. Tick box.
So this is the very important setting.
Always use default voice. Tick. Always use default voice. Tick box.
Always use default voice. If you have more than one a cappella voice and you want to be able to change voices and have talkback respect that change, you need to tick always use default voice. Now, to change the a cappella voices or indeed to buy them because they're not free, we're going to go into the Acapella app, which you need to download from the Play Store if you haven't already.
Hyperion.
Or Ed, I would add that while you are in that settings, at the bottom there on the left, there's a manage voices. You tap there and it'll take you to the Play Store where you could find those voices as well.
Excellent.
Yeah,
Thank you, Warren.
Also, the thing about, language switching, because I use, two languages at the same time. With Acapella, you can do that, although it's kind of, sometimes it's kind of stuck. It doesn't work, so I use Auto TTS, but you can do that still with it because I use Arabic and English at the same time, so it's pretty easy.
Thanks, Mariam. So we're in the Acapella app now.
Click to access to Android TTS.
And we're still in its settings.
Click to access
So come out of there.
English US. English US. Help. US, Laura, voice female, voice installed.
So these are the a cappella voices. I've got a few and I'll change the voice in a minute.
Double tap and hold press. English US, Sharon, voice female, voice installed. English US, Tracy, voice female, voice installed. English US, Karen, voice female, voice installed. English UK, Rosie, voice female, voice not purchased.
So if you want to buy an a cappella voice,
double tap to activate.
You would double tap here.
Acapella TTS Voices. Buy. Rosie. Buy.
There's a buy button, and depending on your settings, it may ask you to confirm that, and then the voice you can download it and it will be installed. Now, to change your voice among your a cappella voices, you need to change the checkbox that I mentioned before about making sure to always use default voice, and then if you want to change it, you double tap and hold on a voice.
English US, Tracy.
So we'll double tap and hold on this one.
Default voice set. Showing items 1 to 12 at 123. Capital E. English US, Sharon, voice female, voice installed.
And it's
English
changed.
Help. English US, Laura, voice female.
And I double tap and hold on this one.
Default, capital E. English US, Sharon, voice female, voice installed.
And it's changed again. So if you have different voices, then just double tap and hold, and the voice will change for you. I think that was all I wanted to show you about a cappella. Thanks, Warren and Mariam, for your observations as well. Mariam, are you going to demonstrate a TTS engine?
Well, yeah, I think I'm gonna demonstrate the Google, and even though it's pretty easy. Or okay. Do you want? I mean, I have a lot. So which one do you want me to demonstrate? I don't mind.
You want to do Vocalizer because that's another one that people use, and for the Vocalizer, you have to follow those same steps that Ed was talking about. You want to make sure that you change, or you click where it says, to force And it is important because if you don't have the voice data, for example, you want to make sure that you have enabled where to default to either a Google TTS or your own chosen TTS in the case that the voice data for Vocalizer is not there and you choose it and then you're dead in water. So I think it's important also, we talked about that, and the same thing is true with Acapella, although Acapella doesn't have that feature where it says if I launch Acapella or if I switch to it and I don't have the voice data in place, it should default to Google TTS or some other chosen TTS engine. We don't have that with Acapella, so that's the one good thing I like about Vocalizer.
Yeah, okay, so I have Vocalizer here. It's open, so the first thing it showed me...
Vocalizer is not the default TTS on your system. Do you want to select it as the default TTS?
So it asked me to make it as, set it as the default, but I actually use Auto TTS, so I don't need to do that.
No button. Vocalizer Voices. Settings button.
Let's go and see the settings first thing. Then we can, look at the voices.
Settings. Force voice unavailable. Force pitch settings checkbox unchecked. Force Vocalizer TTS speech pitch settings over application speech pitch settings.
Yeah, this is what we're talking about. It's an amazing feature because sometimes I do this weird thing about just playing with the pitch and the speech rate, and I just don't know how to get it back. It happened to me before, like a couple years ago, and I found the setting. I was amazed by it, really.
Pitch.
Here we have the pitch if you want to control the pitch on its own. But keep in mind that if you check this checkbox,
pitch settings checkbox unchecked. Force Vocalizer TTS speech pitch settings over application speech pitch settings.
You won't be able to actually edit this. So
pitch, force speech rate checkbox unchecked. Force Vocalizer.
You have a speech rate and a pitch, so you can force the speech rate settings, or on their own, or you can even force the pitch on their own.
Speech rate, force volume checkbox unchecked. Force Vocalizer TTS volume of volume.
We have the volume as well.
General.
So let's go to one of those and see how it's actually controlled.
General unavailable. Image volume.
Oh,
force volume checked. Volume. 200% checked. Volume. 175% unchecked.
So it's actually check boxes. It's not, a seat controller slider or something, which is cool, I guess. Because there are some that only have sliders, which sometimes annoy me, to be honest.
Back button settings. Force volume speed. General unavailable. Emoji emoticon checkbox checked.
This is pretty cool. So Vocalizer describes the emojis pretty well, but the thing with it that I really hate about it is the point that it doesn't, it's not updated, so it's not being updated at all. So every single emoji that's being added actually is not read, which is annoying, to be honest. I hate that. And that's what I love about CSR. It reads emojis independently.
Process punctuation checkbox unchecked.
This is punctuations, question marks, full stops and stuff.
Punctuation.
You can edit this actually here if you want, what punctuations should be read and things like that.
Use number processing checkbox unchecked.
Number processing. So what does that do actually? I've never tried it. If someone knows, just jump in.
So what the number processing does is whether you want it to say your numbers in single digits or double or triplets and things like that. Most especially when you're processing phone numbers, probably it's good to always have it like maybe triplets and things like that. So I have mine enabled because it makes it easier to understand what numbers are or what digits are being read versus, saying it in one long column. That could be kind of hard to remember.
We have this in CSR, so I don't turn that on.
Yeah.
Anyways,
user dictionary unavailable.
The dictionary.
Enable user dictionary checkbox checked.
And this is one of the best things that's only available in ESpeak because I've just seen that, and Acapella and Vocalizer. You can just edit and add your, you make your own dictionary. And I'd say that it's a really helpful thing in Arabic, especially because there are a lot of words that sometimes the voices are actually United Arab Emirates, and I'm Egyptian, so I want my words to be spoken in a different way. So that's how I use the dictionary in Acapella and Vocalizer. I love this feature actually.
Add a new word to a user dictionary.
You can add a new word.
Word list. View all the words in a user dictionary.
Words list.
Import dictionary file. Import
a dictionary file. If you have a file, it's actually we do have the same thing in Acapella. You could just import a file, or even you could export if you did something yourself and you want to share with someone else.
Advanced unavailable. Force language checkbox unchecked. Selected language will always be used, regardless of system settings.
Yeah, so the first language. Actually, Vocalizer is pretty customizable, but I really hate that it's not being updated. It's a sad thing.
Language as English. Use alternative TTS checkbox unchecked. Alternative TTS will be used if no Vocalizer voice is available for the selected language.
So this is important. If you have, for me, for instance, I speak Arabic and speak English. So I downloaded only an English voice, and I have another TTS engine that speaks in Arabic. When comes an Arabic paragraph, it will let this TTS engine speak because I don't have an Arabic voice installed on my Vocalizer TTS, which is amazing.
Alternative TTS improved compatibility checkbox unchecked. Useful if any of your apps have trouble recognizing some Vocalizer TTS languages.
That never happened with me, but you can definitely turn that on if you have any problems.
Support latest TTS API checkbox check, disabling the option. Vocalizer checks for default favorite voice set with every speech request.
So does that mean that if I have three voices, one in French and other in English, they will see and they would say that, or they would take turns? I don't know. It might be.
I think sometimes Vocalizer doesn't, or at least TalkBack won't recognize that you've changed your Vocalizer voice. So even if you have two voices in the same locale, sometimes you'll go to change it and the change won't take effect. If that happens, go and change the state of this checkbox. So I think it can happen in different situations for different people. But if you find that box is checked, uncheck it, and it will force itself to check for default voice, and it'll go and change it.
Oh, okay, got it now. Yeah.
Yes, I use Vocalizer too, and that's what this checkbox is for.
Yeah, and I also want to mention the first item that was found under the advanced, and that would be the first language thing. If you want to easily change your voices without needing to restart TalkBack, you must check that. And this is what I'm talking about.
Alternative TTS language, US English. Force language, selected language will always be used, regardless of system settings. Checkbox, not checked.
Now, if I don't check this, I'm going to leave it unchecked, and you'll see what I'm talking about. This is unchecked. And if I go to change the voice, and you have to go to the Play Store to bring up Vocalizer TTS page, open Vocalizer TTS.
Opening Vocalizer Voices.
Okay, so I am now on that page, and I'm going to switch.
US English, Viva, Embedded Pro V3, 2.
I didn't purchase that. Well, yeah, I think I did.
US English, Viva, Embedded Pro V3, 2, 1.
Now, if I want to make this my default, just like Acapella that it was showing, I'll have to long press. And if I touch it back again.
US English, Viva, Embedded Pro V3, 2, 1, default voice.
See, it says it's my default, but because I didn't check that box back there in the settings, it is not going to take effect. The only time it's going to take effect is if I restart my TalkBack, you watch. So I'm going to restart TalkBack.
TalkBack off.
Now restart it.
TalkBack on.
There we go. So now I have Eva back as my default. Now, in order to not go through that process, what we want to do is to make sure that you check that box that says force language. So watch this. I'm going back to
Text-to-speech settings.
okay.
Use alternative TTS. Let force language. Selected language will always be used, regardless of system settings. Checkbox not checked.
Go ahead and check this one. And now I'm going to go back to the page that has those voice.
US English, Ava, Embedded Pro V3, US English, Zoe, Embedded Pro V3.
Just long press. And
US English, Joel, $3.99.
there's Zoe. Zoe's right
US
back.
English,
So you must do that if you don't want to be unloading your talkback. And then like Mariam was talking about, you also want to make sure that you check where it says, hey, if I don't have my Vocalizer data voice installed, then default to either my Google TTS, or you could choose another TTS there. Is up to you.
Arabic in list.
It's all of your choice. And I like the Arabic voice. There was one I was listening to.
Home screen 404. Home.
I think it's Lila. Was it Acapella? But maybe it's Acapella. I'm getting two things mixed up here. But
no, actually, there's two Arabic voices. One in Vocalizer, it's called Lila, and the other Acapella called Lila as well. But they're totally.
I really like that Lila voice. I think that was really good. Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't like Vocalizer's one.
Oh, okay. But I think it was the Acapella one I was playing with. The
Acapella is great. I use it actually. So.
Yeah. And then you can continue, Mariam, because at the bottom there, you can delete your voice data as well if you're having some problems. Always delete and
we just have
re-download.
2 items left. Download over Wi-Fi if you don't want it to download over cellular data. And there's delete trial voices if you have trial voices and you want to delete them. You can definitely do that. So yeah, and then you have the about Vocalizer 1, and it's over.
And by the way, in Acapella, you can use your own voice for that matter. If you prefer your own voice, you could record your own voice and they'll create that profile so you can use your own voice.
This one.
That's
actually,
really good.
For the first time, you can do it for free, and then if you want to edit or do another one or record another sample or something from your voice with much higher quality, you should pay for it, which is cool, I think.
Thanks, Mariam. Now then, it's back to Mariam for the latest in our CSR demos, Warren's favourite segment. Take it away, Mariam.
Yeah, thank you so much, bro. You go, girl.
Commentary screen reader, or the Chinese screen reader, has gotten really popular among blinds and visually impaired recently. And here, on the Blind Android Users podcast, we will have a series of episodes in which we will talk about how to use the screen reader and how to get the best out of it.
Alright, okay, so welcome to another episode. It's episode of CSR's Basics. So actually, after the last episode, we did have a lot of emails regarding downloading additional resources. So I wanted to clarify this thing first, and then we would move on to the new things that we're going to learn today. The episode is kind of simple and short because we will be covering some additional stuff from, settings that we've actually have discussed before. So let's go. First thing, I'll go into more details about how to create an account to download additional resources from the server, because I received an email from someone who was asking about how can he do that. So let's go to the user center.
Help and feedback. User center. User center.
So user center can be actually found in the program settings under it's just right down. You just have to scroll a little bit because it's, I think, the one of the last items. So it's before the last item. So let's see what we've got here.
Navigate up. View sign up button.
We have sign up for the first time. So let's try that.
Register. Navigate up button. Register. Username. 5 to 5 text box.
you should put in your username here. It shouldn't be a used username because it's going to tell you that it's been already used before. So just type in a username. You cannot type any spaces, by the way.
Password, 6 to 15 Latin characters. Text box.
Here you should type a password that you would remember, because if you want to download your stuff again, if you transfer your phone, that'd be possible.
Invitation code. Text box.
This invitation code, you don't have to fill it, actually. You don't have to fill it out. It doesn't make any difference. I don't know what it does do, and actually I've asked on the Telegram group, and no one has actually given me a useful answer. They said that it's good to create it without any problems.
Register button.
And here you have the register button. So after the register button, we would have
cancel button.
The cancel button. If you wanted to cancel the whole process. So let's say that you've actually registered before and you transferred your phone and you want to just log in with an already pre-created username and password.
Navigate up. Login button.
You would have a login here.
Login.
Just go in here.
Login. Username. Mariam Mohsen. Username. 5 to 15 Latin.
Make sure. Keep in mind that it's gonna read you the password and the username. So what you're gonna need is the username.
Password.
And the password.
User ID.
The ID is related to your phone, so you won't need to actually remember that. It's fine if you don't, because it changes with every single phone.
Login button.
And you have the login button. The registration process is pretty easy. You don't have any thing regarding receive an email or something. So you shouldn't face any problems at all.
Button. Navigate up. Commentary.
So let's go and see what other stuff we have in the user center, because some people might not know.
User ID. More options button. Username Mariam Mohsen. User ID.
So you have the username and the user ID.
Authorization key if you want to purchase the full version.
The authorization key, if you purchased the paid version, you would have the authorization key here.
Validity period. New notification from.
I don't know what does that mean, but it doesn't make a difference.
Referral points. Referee's ID. Commentary screen reader support.
The support.
Commentary screen reader VIP QQ group.
The VIP QQ group, it's in Chinese, by the way.
Username Mariam.
So it's for beta. The support one.
Commentary. Close button. Customer service 101.
It's the customer service.
Support AO Clean and Portuguese 201.
It's the Portuguese.
001.
It's another language.
Close button.
You would have every single language if it has a customer service here, which is amazing, I think. So with every language that it's been translated to, you would find a certain group and certain customer service for it. So let's go and see some other stuff that we can do with additional resources, since we actually have covered that before.
Back button. User action settings. Feedback settings.
We would go to
notification.
Advanced settings.
Notification and cloud backup. Timer set. Cloud backup. Backup and other settings. Menu settings. Power set. Cloud backup. Navigate.
Oh wait, I did that by mistake.
Plugins and tools. Download addition. Cloud notes. Accessibility. Use. Download addition. Extensions. Advanced. Notification settings. Advanced. Cloud backup. Navigate up. Backup other settings. Menu settings. Power settings.
Forgot about it.
Action
Where
settings.
it is?
Manage resources.
Oh, here it is. It's the advanced settings. Okay. So you go to advanced settings and then you find manage resources.
Manage resources. Manage resource. Scan all resource files button.
Scan all resource files. This is, if you want to just scan all your resource things that you've downloaded before, which is cool if you want to check if you have something that you've downloaded before or not.
Manage gestures.
Gestures. So let's go to gestures and see what we have.
Manage gestures.
And it's pretty much the same in every single one of them.
Custom unchecked. Delete button.
if you want to, manage the custom one that you've created yourself, so you would have delete. If you want to delete it, you've downloaded it and you want to delete it, you can do that.
Select all button.
Select all if you have a lot of them.
Backup button.
And you can just back them up. How it's gonna back them up? It's gonna back them up in the CSR folder that we've mentioned last week. It's pretty easy that way.
Manage gestures.
So
Notification from what's backup button.
this is how you can do it.
Back button. Manage sound. Manage tools. Manage
Let's
sound
see some
Manage
things,
sound.
for instance.
So what? Voiceover by
Mm,
Ahmed Mahcheck.
we're gonna check this
Team
one.
original team unchecked.
Check this one, and you could just
Select all button.
back them up.
Backup button.
Let's try to back them up and see what's gonna happen.
Backup has been created. 2 items. Manage resources.
Backup has been created. 2 items, so it backed up 2 items.
Hot management. Manage timer.
So that's it, and let's now go and so it's actually all about this is all about managing the resources and downloading resources from the cloud. You can just download them, delete them from here. Also, you can delete them from their place. So as we mentioned last week, you could just long click on the certain plugin or sound theme that you want to delete, and it's gonna be okay, confirmation message if you want to delete it or not, which is pretty cool, I guess.
Advanced timer settings.
So
OCR reading mode settings.
I want to actually go and see the OCR settings because some people don't know how to deal with that.
Timer settings.
But be aware that it only works with the free version. I've just installed the free version. I don't have the purchase. I've already purchased it, but I haven't installed it because I was doing some stuff. But I will let you know how that works.
OCR settings. OCR. Automatic use of OCR recognition. Checkbox unchecked. This function is only available for premium users.
So what does that mean? Is you have the recognition engine in the folder, as we mentioned in the Roar episode. So you could just swipe up and you'd find the recognition engine. And swipe right, it's gonna scan the screen, the item that you're focused on, if it's not being read, and it's gonna read it for you. It's gonna scan it and read it for you, and it works pretty well, by the way, and even it works in Arabic.
OCR recognition engine. Tencent Cloud OCR.
You can here choose the recognition engine that you want to scan with.
OC Tencent Cloud OC. Use by 2 unchecked. Use by do OCR unchecked. 2 unchecked. 3 unchecked. 4 unchecked.
So there's some that I don't know for other languages. I wish that there's been Fine Reader 1. It's already pretty common. Text OCR engine. So I wish it was here.
Automatic use of OCR language. Valid only when Tencent OCR is selected.
You can only change the language when the Tencent OCR is selected, because apparently the Tencent OCR is the one that supports multiple languages. But on the other hand, the other OCRs only support one language. Like the Baidu, it only supports Chinese, apparently.
Baidu OCR valid only when Baidu OCR is selected.
There's some settings for Baidu OCR. It's a menu on its own. I know that Warren is now kind of pissed.
OCR settings.
So
definitely, Baidu is not going to come anywhere near my phone. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I see. I was pretty sure. That's why I chose to make this episode live, because I know that you were gonna be pissed. So
thank you, girl.
No problem, anytime. So that's it for today. I really didn't want to make the episode long because we actually were not creating one every single week, but I just wanted to record something on the clock for our listeners, because I wanted to clear stuff up. Next week we will have a serious episode where we will talk about the voice assistant. And also we will talk in depth about the action settings and the things that we haven't talked about in the action settings. I hope you like this episode. If you have any questions, don't forget to send your questions to contact us at blindandusers.com. And I hope you like this one. Thank you so much for listening, and see you next week.
I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you do actually have any questions, do feel free to reach out to me or to the whole podcast at contact us at blindandroidusers.com. And I hope you enjoyed this one. We'll see you next week. Thanks for listening.
Thanks very much, Mariam. Now it's our App of the Week section, which comes from me this week, and it's one of our UK pub apps. So of particular interest to UK listeners, but anyone visiting the UK might find themselves in one of these establishments. And it's the pub app Wetherspoons.
Hello everyone, and this week's App of the Week is being recorded on location. It'll be of most interest to our UK listeners, as it is an app about one of our well-known pub chains, and that pub chain is Wetherspoons. So now I am going to fire up the Wetherspoons app. So here we are in the Wetherspoons app now. They have a lot of pubs, and I think the first thing we're going to be asked to do is to choose our pub. I should warn you, on this screen you will be presented with a map, a Google map type thing, so you can easily get lost when swiping around the map screen. I would suggest you explore by touch, and you will have an option to pick where your nearest pub is. I'm going to do this now. So I'll do that. I'm going to start near the top of the screen. It says choose your pub. Then we have Google Map. I'm going to slide my finger down the screen. And it's told me that the nearest pub is the Oyster Rooms in Fulham, which is the pub I'm actually in. So, as I say, do not flick on this screen. It's not going to be very productive. I'm going to double tap this. It's asked me if I am in the pub. I double tapped yes, and you heard that it asked us to complete the usual COVID things. We've already done that, so I now shall flick right. So we should. I will just open the drawers so you can see what's in here. I never come in here. There's no real need to. I'm going to back out. I'm just flicking right now across the screen.
I'm sorry, darling.
Where it's saying menu top frame layout, that's because I have unlabeled buttons to be spoken, so it's reading some IDs. So there we go, and that's what's on the screen. I don't want any food particularly, so I'm going to flick up. I'm going to go and order a drink. I'm going to double tap on drinks. I think I want craft beer, so I'm going to go into this one. Now I want Brewdog Punk, which is what I've found, so I'm going to double tap it. So I'll set the table. I'm on table 62, so I'm going to double tap the search field. Now I found it is better to tap the done button here rather than trying to do the smart search above the keyboard. So it says table 62, I'm going to double tap this. And it's set, so I'll hit continue. I am 18, which is the drinking age here. I'll hit continue. So I could have a half pint measure. I don't want that. You'll hear it's not ticked. I do want the pint. That is ticked. I could customize it. I think that would let me add some sort of lemonade or shandy top to it. I don't want to do that. Add to basket. So I'm now going to check out. I don't think anyone else needs anything. So I look near the top of the screen. And where it says 1, it's not particularly descriptive, but that is the basket. So it's where is it on the screen? It's in the top right hand corner really is the 1, so I'll double tap that. Proceed to payment, that's what I want to do. It's offering me to pay with Google Pay. And I'm going to hit continue. It's got the right payment method. And we'll just let it do what it's going to do. Alright, it wants me to unlock my my phone to use the PIN, that's fine. And the order's gone through. As I say, you might actually get better results when you're using the app. I had elements labelled because I have quite a few apps where that's beneficial. In this app it actually isn't, and it makes it sound more confusing than it is. But I hope you'll appreciate it. It's a relatively straightforward app, and in a few minutes my drink ought to arrive. I should just say apologies for the fact that Talkback was quite so quiet on that app. I suspect it's because I changed recording apps, and I did look at it briefly in pub, but listening to it back, I know that Talkback was a little bit quiet. It was recorded on location though, so hopefully the novelty of that made up for it. Otherwise, I would have been testing it from here, and we couldn't have gone all the way through to the payment process. And much more significantly, I wouldn't have got a pint, which would have been soul destroying. So hopefully that was okay. And now it's our Android journey section. And this week, as we announced at the beginning, it's from Alina Heiburger. Welcome again, Alina.
I'm Romanian and I live in Vienna, in Austria.
So you're joining us from Music City, Austria, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So tell us then, how did you get into Android?
I came from, I had Symbian before, 2 phones. And from there I got directly into Android. I didn't have any experience with, iOS, an iPhone or something. Yeah.
So you had that Symbian phone.
Yeah, actually I had
of course, a lot of us did have that Symbian, right? So what happened after that Symbian? What pushed you to look for an alternative?
I heard that we can use touchscreen.
That
phones.
blind people could use a touch screen and things like that, people, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So you kind of got curious about it.
Yes. And I was told by someone in school. Actually, one of my class, someone
One
from
of your
my
classmates,
mates, yeah,
one of your classmates
Sorry.
told you about
told me
the fact that we
actually
have that.
he was
Yeah.
he had some site, but he said he knew someone who uses the touchscreen and with speech
blind.
and blind. I think he had some site as well, but I'm not sure about that. Yeah, I was curious about it, and I wanted to try it, the touchscreen, because I wanted to know how it's laid out, where all the buttons are, and how it looks kind of visually, or
So which one was your first one, Alina, after you decided to go try it? Do you remember what phone it was, or what Android version that was? It's hard to remember these things because it's a long time ago. Yeah.
Yeah, actually, in at the end of 2014, I think. Yeah, a long time ago.
So it probably was running maybe like Jelly Bean or
I
Kit
don't remember
Kat.
the phone, what the phone was called, but it had Jelly Bean.
A lot of phones have Jelly Bean back in 2014. Yeah,
it was, and it was really cheap phone. It had a screen I couldn't even scroll with 2 fingers. It didn't support 2 more fingers. That kind of screen. And I used that for a few months, and then in 2015, someone showed me his phone. He was sighted person, but he was showing me what it sounds like, the speakers, and it was an HTC, I think M8 or something. I don't remember the
maybe
name.
It was the M8 or the M7. The HTC M7 was the very first one that gave us that nice sound in the metallic build in Android. Yeah, so you probably was either M7 or M8.
Yeah, M8 it was, and obviously I wanted one because I like the sound, but I couldn't afford it, and I went for the HTC Mini. It was a mini version of it. But less storage and less, performance. I mean, another processor and all that. It was not like the flagship M8, and that one had Android 4.4. That was Kit Kat, I think. Yeah. And that was that was a good phone for its time, and then I think in 2016 we switched carriers. That was in Romania, by the way. We lived in Romania at that time, and my mother had an old phone that didn't support the 4G, and I gave her that HTC, and I got another HTC because I like the sound. I don't remember what the exact name of it, but it wasn't it was a kind of mid-range phone, not the flagship. And I used that for a while. That had Lollipop, I think. Yeah, Android 5. And I've used that for, don't know exactly. And at the end of 2017, I I got the Motorola phone, the Moto G5S Plus, and that had Android 7.1, I think, yeah, something like that. And it was a much better phone. I mean, well, not the sound, but it was, faster and more much better specifications, and also more storage and RAM, that kind of thing. And yeah, for a long time it had Android 7, and I wanted actually to put a custom ROM on that phone, but I didn't manage. I done something wrong. I mean,
so
nothing bad happened with it.
You are trying to baptize it in the Mongolian river, and at that time, of course, you didn't.
But didn't get.
You didn't realize that the minister was there. Oh my gosh,
that was
Alina.
in 2018 or so.
Yeah. So that was the 5 Moto G5 Plus, right? It's a good phone, actually.
5S Plus, yeah.
Yeah, 5S Plus. That's right. It's a good phone.
Yeah, it was a good phone.
Out of the Moto G5 series, that was probably the best of them.
After a while, it got Android 8.1. So yeah, I didn't bother roaming it.
Yeah. Then what did you get after the Moto G phone?
Yeah, and I actually had quite bad experience. I mean, frustrating somehow with the soft braille keyboard. I type in braille with the on the phone, and with that Moto G5 phone. Yeah, I went then for the.
Was the experience not good using Braille? Because you're probably talking about something like the soft Braille keyboard, right?
Yeah, with the soft Braille keyboard.
And how was the experience on that Moto G?
I mean, on that Moto G, it wasn't that great, but it worked on the HTC.
Okay.
Before that, yeah, and so in November 2018, I think. Anyway, at the end of 2018, I got the Xiaomi Mi A2, the Android One phone. Yeah, and that was much better. I like that phone. Yeah, then we moved to Vienna, and we got some phones here from the carrier. And in 2019, also kind of about at the end of it, I got the S10, Samsung Galaxy S10, and that's my my current phone.
Well, that's a great story, though, Alina. So you're now rocking the S10, which is a whole lot better than the Moto G5, which is a mid-ranger. You're now using a flagship phone, which is a nice modern phone. So it's been quite a journey there for you, hasn't it? What would you say to somebody who's just starting with Android and they're probably struggling and feeling like, hey, I just want to throw this thing out the window? What would your advice be? Would you advise them to stick with it and play with it some more, or just go ahead and open that window and throw it out?
I guess keep trying,
Yeah, that's right. Because if you were able to handle it back then with that little phone that was probably maybe not bigger than a 2-inch or whatever, and you were able to use that phone back then in 2014, then I guess, nowadays with all the nicer phones that we have, it's actually a better experience, isn't it? When you pick up a phone from 2014 and you pick up a phone from today, it's a huge, huge difference. So your story makes all the sense to me. Thank you so much, Alina.
Yeah, I didn't think I would have so many phones. I wanted to have a phone and keep it for a few years, but
for a long time,
didn't work.
No, you can't, because things keep changing, and when they change, you want to experience that new thing. I think that's one of those things that pushes us to getting something new, is that things keep changing, and then something better comes along. Of course, we want to get that new thing. Who wouldn't want a new thing? I would. Thank you so much for your Android journey story, and we encourage people to always come and tell us their Android journey story. This is my favorite segment of the podcast, by the way, because some are very funny, like Alina's little phone and all of that, and and all of that. So very
I actually
interesting
like
story.
big phones, but yeah.
Thank you. Now that's my girl.
Yeah, but actually the S10 is not that big. It has a bigger display, but then
I have the Samsung
Xiaomi, for
Galaxy
example.
A90 5G. It's an absolute beast. It's a huge phone.
Now that's the phone
My
that
mother
Alina
has
needs.
the A70. I liked it. I like it because it's so big,
Why don't you change that? Maybe we switch with your mom.
Yeah,
No.
actually, it was. We agreed. Actually, we were supposed to get 2 of them, but for some reason, my mother wanted the S10 for herself. And when I heard the speakers on the S10, I said, no, I want it because I'm after the sound,
Well, actually,
good
the
sounding
S10 is a whole lot better than, that's a flagship phone. You know what I mean? Even though it's from, when did we get the S10? Was that in 2019? I don't remember. Yeah, 2019. So yeah, while it's an older phone, it's still a better processor when you compare it to the A70, which is a mid-range phone. So you went for the gusto, you went for the good stuff. However, because you prefer the bigger screen, you probably could have said, "Hey, mom, you take the S10."
Well, I was thinking then the sound is more important to me than the screen.
That is true.
But
that's true. All right, so I think that's it for the My Android Journey story. Of course, Austin will be giving you guys info to join us if you want to come on live, or if you want to pre-record and send your Android Journey story. Austin will also give you that info.
Austin, how do people get in touch with us?
So for people to get in touch with us, they can visit our website, that is blindandroidusers.com. If you want to come live, or if you have any questions or feedback or whatever you want us to come on your show, or you have some newsletter that you want us to be promoted on, you can send us that all information by emailing us. Contact us at blindandroidusers.com. But if you cannot come on live and you want to send us a pre-recorded My Android Journey story, you can email us at myandroidjourney@blindandroidusers.com. You can subscribe to our mailing list by emailing blindandroidusers plus subscribe at groups.io. And the links for Telegram, Twitter, YouTube, and Clubhouse, our club on Clubhouse, will be in the show notes. And we are going to have a surprise for you, which will be announced, I think, in the next episode. There's going to be some surprise on Clubhouse. So stay tuned for the next episode.
Thanks, Austin. And most importantly, thanks to everyone for listening. And we shall see you next week.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
And that has been another episode of the Blind Android Users Podcast. As always, we appreciate hearing from you. You send those email messages to contact us at blindandroidusers.com. For those My Android Journey stories, we encourage you to send those to myandroidjourney@blindandroidusers.com. Until we see you in our next episode, you have a wonderful day.